Hello, girls and boys, and hello to everybody else who's joining us today for our bedtime story. I hope that you've had a lovely day today, and whatever you've done, you've enjoyed lots and lots. Well, I've been quite busy today. I've had lots and lots of different things to do, and I've tried my very best with them all, and I'm sure you've done the same as well. And now it's the end of the day, and it's time for our bedtime story. So I hope you're ready for bed. Maybe you're sitting somewhere comfortably. Maybe you've already got your pyjamas on. Maybe you're sitting on the sofa. Wherever you are, I hope you're ready for our story. Now, our story today is another one from my Naughty Little Sister collection. And you can see, look, it's a very big book, lots and lots of pages. And inside this book, there are lots of different stories. And today's story is taken from one quite near the back. And it's called, let me find it, My Naughty Little Sister and Bad Harry. So that's the title there. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Are those ears switched on? Here we go. Once upon a time, a long time ago, when I was a little girl, I had a sister who was littler than me. Now, although my sister was sometimes very naughty, she had a lot of friends. Some of her friends were grown-up people, but some were quite young. Her favourite friend was a little boy called Harry. He often made my sister cross, so she called him Bad Harry. Bad Harry lived quite near to us. There were no roads to cross to get to his house, and he and my sister often went round to visit each other without any grown-up person having to take them. One day, when my naughty little sister went round to Bad Harry's house, it was my mummy's washing day. Bad Harry was very pleased to see her. He didn't like it when his mummy was doing washing. "Have you come to play?" he asked. Now, Harry's mother didn't like naughty children running about in her house while she was doing the washing, so she said, "You'll have to go and play in the garden. You know what you two are like when there's water about." Harry said he didn't mind that. There was a lovely game they could play in the garden. They could play islands. There was a big heap of sand at the bottom of the garden that Harry's father was going to make a path with one day. Harry said, "We'll pretend that sand is an island in the river, like the one we go to on the ferry boat sometimes." My sister said, "Oh, yes, we will go and live on it. We will say that all the garden is the river." So off they went. They had a good game, pretending to live on the island, and there they are. They filled Harry's toy truck with sand and ran it up and down the heap and tipped the sand over the island side until it became quite flat. Then they dug holes in the sand and stuck sticks in them and said they were planting trees. Later on, Harry went to find some more sticks, and while he was gone, my sister made some sand pies for their pretend dinner. My little sister made them in a flower pot and tipped them out very carefully. They did look nice. "Dinner time, Harry," she said, but instead of pretending to eat a sand pie, that bad Harry knocked over all the pies with his stick. He said, "Now you'll have to make some more." He thought that was a funny thing to do, but my sister didn't think so. My naughty little sister was very, very cross with Bad Harry when he knocked the pies over. She screamed and she shouted and she said, "Get off my island, Bad Harry!" And she pushed him and he fell onto the garden. When Harry fell, my sister stopped being cross and she laughed instead. "Now you're wet in the river," she said. But Bad Harry didn't laugh. He was very angry. I'm not wet. I'm not wet, he shouted, and he began to jump up and down. You pushed me, Harry said. You broke my pies, shouted my sister. Bad old Harry, and she jumped up and down too. Bad Harry was going to shout again when he saw something, and then he had an idea. He saw his mother's washing basket. Harry's mother had filled the washing line with sheets, and she'd left the other wet things in a basket on the path so that she could hang them up when the sheets were dry. I've got a boat, Harry said. He went up to the basket with the wet things in it. Look, he said, it's a boat, and he began to push it along the path. My sister forgot about being cross with Harry because she liked this idea. She went to help him push. We've got a boat, she said. They pushed their boat round and round the island, and they were just talking about giving each other rides on top of the wet washing, and my sister was just shouting again because she wanted to be first when Bad Harry's mummy came out. You are naughty children, Harry's mother said. If I'd caught you in time, you would have all got into all of my dirty washing. What will you do next? We were just playing islands, said Bad Harry. Well, you are not going to play islands any more, said Bad Harry's mummy. You will come indoors with me where I can keep my eye on you. Now, she said, you can each sit on a chair while I wash the kitchen floor. She lifted Bad Harry onto one chair and my naughty little sister onto the other chair, and she said, don't you dare get off. And they didn't dare get off. There they are. Harry's mother looked too cross. They didn't even talk. They were so busy watching her washing her floor. First she used the mop on one corner. Then she picked up the chair with Bad Harry on it and put it on the wet place. There, she said. Then she washed the floor in another corner. She picked up the chair with my naughty little sister on it and put it on that wet place. There, she said. Now don't get down until the floor is dry. She said, curl your feet up and keep them out of the wet. And Bad Harry curled his feet up, and my naughty little sister curled her feet up too. And Bad Harry's mother laughed and said, right, here I go. And she mopped all the floor that was left. She did it very, very quickly. My little sister quite enjoyed watching Harry's mummy mop the floor. She liked to see the mop going round and round and all the soap bubbles going this way and that way. She liked to see it going backwards and forwards, wiping up the bubbles. Every time the bubbles were wiped up, she shouted, gone away. Our mother didn't clean her floor like that, so it was very interesting. Bad Harry didn't shout, though. He sat very still and very quiet. He was thinking. When Harry's mother was finished, she said, well, you have been good children. I'll just put down some newspaper on the floor and you can get down. So she put newspaper all over the floor and my little sister got down off her chair. Let's go and find a chocolate biscuit, Harry's kind mother said. My little sister smiled because she liked chocolate biscuits, but Bad Harry didn't smile. He didn't get down from his chair. He was still thinking. He was pretending. All the time he'd been on the chair, he had been playing islands. He had been pretending that the chair was an island and the wet floor was a river. Come on, Harry, my naughty little sister said. Come and get your biscuit. I can't. I'll fall in the river, said Harry. I can't swim yet. My little sister knew at once that Harry had been playing. She looked at the wet floor with the paper all over it and then she pulled the paper across the floor and laid it in a line for Harry's chair to the door. "Come on, over the bridge," she said. And that's what she did. And after that, they made up all sorts of games with newspapers on the floor. Well, that brings us to the end of that story. I hope you enjoyed it. And I wonder whether you had little pictures in your head of all the things that were happening in that story. I did enjoy reading it to you, so I hope you enjoyed it too. Well, that brings us to bedtime and to the 3 things that we always check we do before we go to bed. So, after the story is finished, have you or are you going to clean your teeth? Go to the toilet for one last time and be ready wearing whatever you wear for bed so you can snuggle down under your covers for a good night's sleep. Well, if you've done all those things, well done. And if you haven't, I'm sure you're going to go and do them soon. And now it's time for me to say good night. So from my house to your house, good night, girls and boys. See you soon. Night, night.